So yeah, like I really enjoy the actual writing part of it. So that's why I kind of stay as a writer. I think that's a big question a lot of people have to answer when they get into this type of field is like, well, let me back up. The kind of the evolution of a writer is they'll create something on their own, like a meme account or just some account that's interesting. People will want to hire them. They'll scale up. They'll take on as many clients as possible, and then at some point they have to decide, like, okay, am I going to grow this into an agency? And so I know some people have done that and been really successful. They hire writers. They build systems, and they have a few dozen clients and maybe do a couple million a year in revenue. Or some writers pick kind of the opposite, where they decide, okay, I'm not going to scale. I'm just going to work with a small handful of clients. Maybe they add on some other business, like they sell some sort of course, or they just have their own newsletter and sell advertising, or they sell their own other info products. So I mean, I think those are all pretty good paths, but that's usually what a writer kind of has to choose between.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have anyone that helps me with all the consulting I do. Paul, you have people on like and
Yeah, we
building a
talked about
team to
this.
some degree, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, what is your opinion of hiring? I know that you guys have some thoughts there. Is there a stage where you guys would be open to hiring somebody to help you out?
Like I'm definitely open to it. I think I don't know. I'm kind of still debating that myself because I do have like other clients I like haven't, there are people who want to work with me who I've just said, oh, I'm too busy right now. Like I could take on more clients. I guess it's a matter of just hiring the correct writer. So yeah, I'm open to it. I don't know. I also kind of feel like, all right, I do really well, just having my clients, and I'll keep working on my other projects, like building up meme accounts or whatever else. So I don't know. I kind of have this internal debate with myself all the time. Like I've hired a ton of freelance writers. So my thoughts on that are, I mean, I have a pretty good network now of like good writers who I either found because they write meme accounts I like, or they just write stuff on Twitter. So I can always hire freelancers. It's just a little trickier because I feel like usually the client is hiring me to write for them. So I feel like by the time I figure out what the client wants and like, set up the initial stuff, I almost feel like, okay, it's probably just going to be more work to hire someone to do it because like I already have it all in my head. I just spend an hour writing it all out and I'm done. Or most of the work is done at that point. So I don't know. I've kind of debated it, but so I guess I'm not even fully decided on if I'll ever hire someone to help with this or not. But
yeah, I think like, so, I mean, I was in a big agency many, many years ago. And so I think like now the technology is really different. Like the three of us have these kind of like at scale home-based businesses that are like significant businesses, which I think was much harder to do even 7 years ago. Like there's just so many tools and low cost tools and networks and there's a comfortability with all of this and maybe the biggest innovation is that the online audience is just massive. It's like it's so big. Like that's relatively recent. And what I mean by relatively recent, like 5 to 7 years, like 10 years ago, like the internet wasn't anything like it is today, right? You could just reach so many people. So having a business that's like, let's call it internet based, which is what I think ultimately everything we're doing, there's some element where like it's fairly universal and you can just reach a lot of people. They're really scalable and really efficient. And so, you can choose to hire people, you can choose not to, but you can get to a pretty sizable business just on your own. It's really cool. Like, I think it's like, it's the future, I think, of where a lot of careers are going to continue to go.
right. Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Like some of the people I look up to, or like when I look at the people I know from social media and analyze their businesses, the people that I kind of admire the most have a simple business, and they usually have a very small team, but they obviously do really well with revenue and they have a high profit margin. But they just do one or two things really well. They have an audience, so they can leverage that for whatever they need. But yeah, I don't know. I think like it's just becoming less and less popular to feel like, oh, you need to build like a whole team, you need to have full-time employees. And the other thing is I feel like things move so quick that it's also, at least from an agency perspective, it's this massive problem with these small content agencies where they hire someone full-time, but then the client capacity changes like week to week because one client will cancel, one client will say, oh, I want to work with you, and they want to start in 2 days. And even if we say, oh, like 30-day cancellation policy, that usually doesn't happen in like the small content agency world.
Totally.
Yeah, so I think that's like the biggest issue that most smaller content agencies have, is they have this mismatch of like, okay, do I build out a full-time team? And what if one of my writers is not totally busy? Like, what if 2 of their clients cancel? And it's a solvable problem, but it's like not one solving. Don't want to deal with.
I was going to say, let's switch gears here. I think one of the questions that I want to ask, and I think that other people want to know, is like, how do you go viral? Like, you've talked a bit about this. Yeah, like, what is your approach, philosophy about creating, let's call it viral content?
Yeah, so the main thing, at least lately, that I've been going more viral for is like these long form shitpost stories. And I think that if I had to describe the difference between like 2020 and 2021 versus now, is like back then, simple memes with like a picture, 1 or 2 lines, basically that was like every single viral post. And I think that kind of content it just got a little boring, like, because everyone does it now. So I've pivoted to these like long form stories. Basically, like with the Chase Passive Income account, that's most of my stories are, these longer stories that basically end with, everyone stood up and applauded, and a billionaire, was there and gave me a $1 trillion deal or whatever.